When we saw the previews, I said, this movie is going to do very well. This is going to be one of the rare, real clean successes for the Walt Disney Company, because they got Elio coming up next, which is probably going to hit a brick
Oh, yeah.
wall.
I
Right
haven't seen
now,
any marketing for it.
I know. Everything's behind Lilo and Stitch. I think Disney's it's gonna be like another Snow White situation, Brett, where they just say, we just want to get this one over with as quickly as possible. Renegade Online.
I was told that, like, I just remember the original posts about it were like 35 to 45 million.
Yeah.
And I assumed it was going to do at least 30. I didn't think it was going to fall under 30 million.
Yeah, it kind of got buried in there, but there's something that I'm going to remind everybody. We've talked about this before. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Lionsgate is a very unique studio/film distributor when it comes to how they make money.
Okay.
And it would probably, if I told you right now, it might surprise you if I told you that $90 million budget that they spent, because they had a lot of reshoots on this apparently, is pretty much already all paid for.
So, why? Because is the movie going to go to other places when it's immediately when it's done?
I'll tell you in a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lionsgate's very unique, and it's one of these things to where, well, there's a series of articles I go back and reference to kind of remind folks what they've done here, but it's actually really smart. They can get away. They're smaller. I wouldn't expect a large studio to do this, but I'll show you in a minute. Kind of running down the list here. Karate Kid Legends, I still haven't seen it. $74 million. Now, I think the movie they spent like 45 or 50 million. I have to go back and look again. I don't think this was a particularly expensive. Yeah,
like half million. That go to Jackie Chan.
Yeah. It may have.
Yeah.
But 45 million is a lot of on-location shooting. I get it, but they've hauled in 74 million. Look, I don't think they spent a lot of money marketing this film. It didn't feel like they maybe spent another 45 million marketing this. I mean, if this movie can eke its way up to about 150 to 170 million, I think they'll be plenty happy. They will have covered their cost at the box office. Now, will it get there? I don't know. But this is another one of those things that I remind folks again. This is a movie that was made very inexpensively by Sony, and Sony has a big, fat, multi-year, billion-dollar contract with Netflix.
I was just going to say, I said, what is the goal here? Like, as soon as they're done, give it right to Netflix so they can put it in, like, the Cobra Kai scroll? Yeah.
Netflix basically paid for this.
Yeah.
Netflix basically paid the bill, the $45 million bill for this thing to be created.
Yeah.
This is something that started years ago. I know the guys at Midnight's Edge, Tom and Andre, covered this years ago, like when they were making Star Trek Discovery, the new show under the Kurtzman stuff. I mean, Paramount was cranking out these seasons, but Netflix was basically writing the check for it to all be done. So as long as the money for Netflix kept coming in, they were going to keep making the show because it wasn't ultimately costing Paramount anything to do. It's this deal with Sony. It's kind of another one of those things. And the Lionsgate situation is something of a similar nature. So let me go back to some of these others on this list. Final Destination, Bloodlines. Again, I loved this movie. I went to go see it the week it came out. It's at $257 million. This is great for a horror movie, and these things usually have a very healthy post-theatrical shelf life like we talk about. Not much left to discuss here.
What was the budget on Final Destination?
Low? I think 50? Yeah, 50.
Yeah.
I mean, the set pieces that they used, especially in the opening scene for that, they probably spent 15 million just putting that thing together. Something. I mean, but it was worth it. It was worth it was an amazing set piece. The way they set the movie up, it was a lot of fun. I may try to go see it again before it leaves theaters, but I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Warner Brothers had a good win with this one, but when we go back out, let's look at Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch, because Mission Impossible, I mean, look, it's at 400 and it's performing exactly like we thought. The international box office is double what the domestic is, right? I mean, this is a movie that needed to probably get to around $800-900 million, depending on which numbers you believe. But the original report said it had a budget of $300 to $400 million. A lot of people ran with just the straight up $400 million, which might be true, but that might be, those figures may or may not be net of any kind of film tax credits. We don't know, but it was expensive. That's for sure. So, I mean, let's say they spent $400 million all in with the marketing, which wouldn't surprise me. Might be more. That's what I'm saying. Probably $800-900 million. Is it going to make it in the box office?
No,
Probably not.
no.
But the library of Mission Impossible films from Skydance in tandem with Paramount, they still make a lot of money collectively because
and they're on
out
like
there.
all the streaming services now.
Yes.
Like it used to be the type of thing where I only saw that on Paramount. And now it's on like every streaming service when you go there and you scroll through. At least some of the movies are on all of them.
I turned on my LG TV and they were like, "Oh, hey, we have Mission Impossible 1 and 2 here for you." Like just in the LG menu. Not as that's what I'm saying is that, Paramount has opened up, Warner Brothers has opened up. They're now collecting a lot of revenue. The John Wick franchise is very similar. That library generates Lionsgate a lot of money. And they Ballerina's kind of looked at as this was a bonus, that we stuck on. And
so where is John Wick? I mean, I always see John Wick is at Stars, right? And then it's on Peacock now. I saw that because I had to reorder Peacock because I want to watch Twisted Metal season 2 when it comes out.
So the reason for that, Brett, is because maybe you recall recently, a few months ago, Stars and Lionsgate finalized their separation.
Okay.
They spun apart from one another. They were the same company. So the Stars deal for Lionsgate continues through the end of this year. Next year, Amazon Prime has already written a fat frickin' check. They're getting it all. That's where a lot of the Lionsgate money, but there's more to it than that. We'll talk about that in just a second. And I see we have one of our guests backstage. Hang tight for me 1 second, Amanda, because we're gonna get to this talk on Ballerina real quick. But I want to get Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch, I believe these numbers have fully updated for the day. We are now at $772 million worldwide box office. So I said a few weeks ago, like this should be $1 billion movie. It still has a good shot of getting there because there's not a whole lot of really popular kids fare that's going to be pushing it out of the way. I mean, I know we got How to Train Your Dragon coming this week or 5 days from now or whatever it is. That's going to be launching. That's obviously going to give this some competition, but Lilo and Stitch is one of those things that could hang around and keep working its way towards $1 billion. Although as the weeks go by, that chance continues to slip, so I don't know where this is really going to wind up. It's kind of hard to say, but right now I would say certainly at least 900, but it may fall, as I said a couple of weeks ago, kind of based on where it was, it may actually fall just a wee bit shy of $1 billion. It's going to teeter right on that edge. I mean, it's got $228 million to go, which is a lot of money at this point.
Yeah. How is it? I mean, trajectory wise, it's ahead of like Mufasa was when Mufasa eked its way to 700 million.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mufasa started a lot slower, and then Disney spent a small fortune again on marketing over the course of the next month to keep pumping it. We were making jokes. It was like the movie had been out a month. And I'm seeing commercials, ad pieces, social media slicks for this thing as if it was about to come out the next day. It's like they pumped that. Like Disney did not want to take an L on that movie, and that's why I kept cautioning people. I'm like, look, bear in mind that they spent probably a lot more than they intended to on marketing to keep that train running, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the issue there. So that's where Lilo and Stitch is at. I have a feeling this has been a pretty good merchandise seller for Disney. And I've been in the corner of this movie since day one. When we saw the previews, I said, this movie is going to do very well. This is going to be one of the rare, real clean successes for the Walt Disney Company. Because they got Elio coming up next, which is probably going to hit a brick wall.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right now,
I haven't seen any marketing for it.
I know. Everything's behind Lilo and Stitch. I think it's gonna be like another Snow White situation, Brett, where they just say, we just want to get this one over with as quickly as possible. Because right now, 28 years later, which I saw the trailer for it last night when I went to go see Ballerina, looks great.
Yeah.
The opening weekend projections for that movie are bigger than Elio.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Elio's been in like production since 2023 and it's gone through all sorts of problems. They got rid of the original director. They brought in the director from Turning Red, the two directors from Turning Red to direct it, which isn't a good sign.
No. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.